Trap City. Rob drops a shocking video mocking Lil Jeff's death. The man believed to have killed Lil Jeff has been jokingly called the Defensive Player of the Year by fans online, saying he was just protecting his neighborhood. But things didn't stop there. After the brutal murder, Trap City Rob took it to the next level by mocking the Bloodhounds in disturbing videos. Right after the killing, Rob and his crew shared a clip showing how Lil Jeff collapsed on his own front porch. Then they released another video hinting that more is coming. In it, they remind their rivals, the Bloodhounds, how much they've fallen. Now people are wondering, will the Bloodhounds strike back with violence? Or will Trap City shut them down before they get the chance? Let's break it down. Rob's video sent a shockwave through social media. Lil Jeff's death had already changed many lives, especially his family and close friends, but it also changed Trap City Rob's life. Before this, Rob was basically unknown. After Jeff's death, he suddenly became a star in certain parts of the Chicago drill music scene. Fans hyped him up, especially as the rivalry between Trap City and the Bloodhounds grew even more intense. At first, Rob seemed like he wanted to stay out of the spotlight and avoid the drama around Jeff's murder. But recently, that's changed. In February 2025, he dropped a diss video on Reddit that made everything personal. In the video, Rob is seen in what looks like a recording studio, wearing a custom black eye trap t-shirt. As the beat kicks in, he starts sending shots at his enemies. He raps, "Riding through the 6, you'll get flipped. Shooting all the passengers and up your whip." Then things get more personal. Without saying names, he clearly refers to Lil Jeff. "Don't fall, you better not slip. They talk about sliding, I just watched him slip. This is not a game. Better get a grip before we put you up in the sky just like a blimp." As expected, the clip went viral fast. Reddit users flooded the comments section. A lot of fans praised Rob's rapping skills and energy. One person wrote, "Why he's sliding on this beat like that? Where was this Rob before he got locked?" Another user asked why the track hadn't been officially released. Someone replied, "He did. The song is on UNC City Trap Gang. It's called Riding Through the 6th. Yes, the song was actually released. It's on the UNC City Trap Gang channel, and it's called Riding Through the 6th. Trap City Rob's diss video is just the latest in a long series of social media shots fired by Trap City members aimed at Lil Jeff and the Bloodhounds. Before his death, Lil Jeff was one of the most feared members of the Bloodhounds. He was known for carrying out successful hits on Trap City members. After each one, he'd brag about it online and mock Trap City, which only made the beef worse. So now that he's gone, it's no surprise that Trap City members are taking every chance to return the favor and mock him. Right after news of Jeff's death broke, a video popped up online showing several Trap City members recreating the way he died, right in the same spot where it happened. In the clip, Trap City Rob and others are hanging out on the street talking about whether they should go to the house where Jeff was killed. You can even hear someone say, "Why y'all don't want to go to the porch?" That's when the trolling really begins. Trap City Taro starts by acting out how Jeff ran toward the building before getting shot. Then another Trap City member steps up and gives a more dramatic version, running up to the house and collapsing like he was shot. As he falls, he mocks Jeff, saying, "Look what he did! Look what he did!" Everyone in the crowd laughs and cheers, clearly enjoying the moment. But that wasn't the end of it. Trap City Taro took things further by dropping a diss track called No Disc, where he name-dropped several Bloodhound members, Lil Jeff, Q50, Vert, and Z-Money, who was Jeff's cousin and whose death originally sparked the beef between both crews. In the track, Taro raps, "I ain't dissing, but if I diss, it's to end Jeffy, man. Take that Q50 off that Infinity. His crew can't even spin. Z-Money was the first, but like a curse, I'm tied his hands. They did him dirty. Didn't even tell his mom, just pushed him out the van." As the video goes on, he talks about how he and Bloodhound Vert used to be close, but now that's clearly changed. He says, "I had love for Vert, but Vert did it the worst he keeps bringing. Drama they keep playing with us like we didn't already show them." Then he continues dissing Q50. "Q50 wants to keep running his mouth like my people didn't catch up with him. He got hit over 10 times and still made it out the hospital. Jumped off the porch at 19. These dudes aren't even official." The Video was posted on Reddit and quickly caught fans' attention. The comments were full of praise for Taro's rap skills. One user wrote, "To go harder, he should start adding Trap City to his name, I think." Another fan said, "I like Taro a lot. I just found his music recently and his melodic style is way better. This track is tough though. I just hope he stays out of trouble because he's got a different message in his music." Even fans from the opposing side had to admit Taro was talented. One of them commented, "I rocked with Jeff heavy, but Taro is really holding it down for Trap City." A fourth person added, "Can't hate Taro. He actually knows how to rap beef. He's talking crazy on these songs." Taro calling out the Bloodhounds in his diss track definitely made the rivalry even more toxic. A lot of people thought the beef would cool down after Lil Jeff's death, since he was one of the main figures in it. Lil Jeff was killed on June 8, 2024. Not long after, surveillance footage of the shooting went viral on social media. In one of the videos, Jeff is seen chasing a man in yellow shorts firing shots as he runs. According to police scanner reports, the man was hit in the chest but still managed to run into a nearby building. Jeff was right behind him, still shooting. But just as Jeff was about to enter the building, someone inside fired several shots at him. Jeff collapsed on the front porch, falling down the steps. A witness said the shooter then walked up and emptied an entire magazine into Jeff at close range. Another angle of the shooting, also shared on social media, shows two of Jeff's friends getting into a short gunfight with the shooter. But once they realized Jeff couldn't be saved, they ran off and left the scene. A few days later, Reddit. Users claimed Trap City Rob was the shooter. This theory gained traction after an old video surfaced showing Rob outside the same building where Jeff was killed. Rob later confirmed that the house belonged to his grandmother, making it more believable that he was the one who fired at Jeff from inside. After that, Rob became an internet sensation. Reddit users jokingly gave him the title Defensive Player of the Year at a fake online event called the Chericology Awards Show 24. According to the Reddit community, Rob earned the title because he defended his home and his crew from Lil Jeff. Despite all the attention and people calling him a hero, Rob has tried to distance himself from the murder. In fact, he denied being the killer in a few interviews. During a late 2024 interview on DJU-TV, he was asked about all the attention he had been getting and the rumors that he killed Lil Jeff. He responded by saying,
"I feel like they bogus, man. Whoever started that, man, please stop doing stuff like that. Like, for real, it's like real life, though, you know? So, it's not no video game. It's not no movie, you know what I'm saying? It's reality, so."
Even though Rob publicly denied having anything to do with Lil Jeff's murder, he was arrested around November 2024 and charged with the crime. According to court documents from the Chicago Police Department, Rob was arrested because they believed there was enough reason to think he was involved. A witness said they saw Rob at the scene of the shooting, and there was also electronic surveillance that placed him there. However, the murder charges were later dropped. Instead, Rob was charged with unlawful possession of a firearm. Police admitted that while they could confirm Rob was at the scene, they didn't have enough solid evidence to prove he was the actual shooter. As of January 2025, Rob was still in custody. There's currently no official update on when he might be released. But his arrest and the dropped murder charges haven't calmed things down. The Bloodhounds are still seeking revenge for Lil Jeff's death. In fact, Lil Jeff's father even warned Trap City to clear the streets because, according to him, the war is far from over. If you're familiar with Chicago's drill rap scene, then you're probably aware of the street violence that comes with it. Many young drill rappers are deeply involved in gang rivalries. And sadly, the more people die, the more it seems to fuel the cycle of revenge. These beefs often lead to more shootings, deaths, and destruction in neighborhoods all over the city. Lil Jeff's case is one example. He played a major role in the deadly rivalry between two of Chicago's most feared street gangs, Trap City and Drill City, also known as the Bloodhounds. Even after his death, the feud hasn't stopped. Instead, different members of the gangs have continued to go after each other in retaliation. The real tragedy is that promising young men are being killed, leaving behind grieving families, including kids. Let's take a moment to look back at how all this started. The Drill City Gang, now known as the Bloodhounds, has been active in Chicago for years. They mainly operate around 79th Street and Maryland Avenue. Over time, the group has changed leadership and direction, but their focus has shifted more and more toward violent crimes like robbery and shootings. Despite how serious these crimes are, members of the gang often rap about them in their music, turning real-life violence into lyrics, while continuing to put entire communities at risk. Over the years, the Bloodhounds have made a lot of enemies, mostly because of personal beefs. Two of their most well-known rivals are BKN and Trap City. Let's focus on Trap City for a second. The feud that led to Lil Jeff's death was between Trap City and the Bloodhounds. Like their rivals, Trap City is a feared gang in Chicago. They're a subset of the Gangster Disciples, and their turf mainly runs from 67th to 69th Street, between St. Lawrence and Cottage Grove. What makes Trap City even more dangerous is their strong alliance with another gang called the CW Bass. This partnership has made them even more powerful and notorious on the streets. Interestingly, the Bloodhounds and Trap City weren't always enemies. In fact, they used to be part of the same larger faction. The Bloodhounds originally included Drill City, 400 East, and Trap City. So, while it's not shocking that gangs sometimes split, what makes this particular beef so wild is how it started. Believe it or not, the rivalry began over a stolen chain. Before things got violent, the relationship between these groups was tight. They were so close that it was hard to tell who belonged to which group at social events. For example, Trap City Taro used to hang out with Lil Jeff and Q50, Jeff's cousin. And Bloodhound Vert was even seen in a photo with Trap City Rob. It's almost hard to believe that things couldn't be solved peacefully. Instead of talking it out when the chain went missing, both sides started dissing each other online and in songs, sparking a deadly wave of violence. The rumors about the chain being the reason for the split were confirmed in 2024, when Trap City Rob finally spoke publicly about it. In an interview sitting next to fellow Trap City member Taro, Rob claimed that it was Lil Jeff who stole the chain. He then went on to explain his side of the story.
Hey bro, we tried like you took it, you stole my own chain.
Whether or not there was any form of dialogue between the gangs, we may never know. However, what seems plausible is that they didn't discuss the matter, because what came next following the beef was shocking. Allegedly on March 16, 2023, the Trap City crew moved in on Lil Jeff's cousin, 21-year-old Zier Nelson, aka Z-Money. Z-Money was shot more than 20 times inside a vehicle, and his attackers did ensure that he had no chance of survival for the Bloodhounds. This was an unacceptable situation. Zoni was seen as one of their own owing to the shared moments he had with the Bloodhounds and his connection to Lil Jeff. But before the Bloodhounds had decided on how to avenge the killing of one of their own, their rival was already another. Step ahead, allegedly, Trap City orchestrated another attack on one of Lil Jeff's own Q50 this time. However, Q50 didn't budge. Although the Bloodhounds group member was hit many times, he somehow survived. Following his recovery, the Bloodhounds needed to show their enemy who was boss, so they went on Instagram Live to rap about the unsuccessful shooting spree while flexing their muscle on their ability to survive. The Bloodhounds hinted that the battle line had just been drawn. They also claimed a hit that happened around that time against Trap City. In the video, Q50 raps, "They shot me in my leg next month. I shot his throat, Lil." Jeff then says, "They shot my cousin, but ain't kill him for some weeks straight. We was spinning. But the only difference is when she got caught, we killed him in the clip." Lil Jeff and Q50 had boldly claimed the hit on 19-year-old J-Lo Goins, aka Trap City Lal. The young adult was gruesomely murdered while inside a rideshare on June 25, 2023. This crime occurred in the 1300 block of West Taylor Street around 9 Bawaiibi. The 19-year-old had just entered into the car he ordered when tragedy struck the driver. Robert Smith witnessed the tragic attack as one man who had tailed the vehicle walked up and started to fire, fully targeting the passenger. The assailant aimed for the backseat window, and after spraying his victim with bullets, he fled on foot. Smith didn't wait for the shooter to finish firing. Before the last bullet rang in, he moved the vehicle to Rush University Medical Center. But sadly, Goins had no life in him when they arrived at the medical facility. While speaking about the ordeal to the Sun-Times, Smith maintained, "I tried to save him, I didn't care about traffic lights and speed cameras. I really wanted him to survive. I was praying for him the whole way there. When they took them out of the car, I was praying for the surgeons to do what they could do. The blood had barely dried on the body of Goins, while the community found it hard to accept such violence. But Lil Jeff saw it as the perfect time to diss his ops. In another one of his Instagram live moments, Lil Jeff touts, "Go ask my ops that Michael Drake get out that cop." While at it, Lil Jeff, who was driving in a car, waved his gun at the camera, showing that he was indeed the tough gun in the hood. Not long after that, Lil Jeff went further to disrespect his grieving ops in the wake of Goins' murder. Trap City Taro took to Facebook to express his grief while paying tribute to the fallen hero. He shared a throwback image taken in 2020 with an accompanying caption that read, "I wish I could get it back." As soon as Lil Jeff noticed the post, he responded with a care emoji comment. This was unexpected and downright insulting, because prior to that post, Lil Jeff had established his hate for the crew and how he was guilty of the murder. Lil Jeff must have thought that after all they killed his cousin Z Money and had tried to kill his other cousin Q50. So anyway, he chose to exact revenge was the best way. At the time, Lil Jeff's Instagram handle rained of different posts, all directed at the deceased. Goins and his ops with each passing day, Lil Jeff tried to infer that he was unstoppable and had indeed committed the crime. On one occasion, the rapper subscribed to less talking and instead chose to play an actor. This time he recreated the shooting scene and acted as the assailant who murdered Goins. Fate clip showed Lil Jeff in a gas station, and from the killer's end, he crept slowly behind the white car before eventually motioning to the back seat upon finding his target there. Lil Jeff begins to shoot incessantly while keeping a happy face after the job has been completed. He moves away and begins to laugh at the camera. This was the first time anybody was having a close view of the crime, especially from the killer's point of view. Still, this well-detailed clip did nothing to attract the attention of the police. At best, it sparked outrage from some critics and fans who claimed that Lil Jeff was insensitive and gunning for trouble without any plans of letting their rivals have a dry eye. The Bloodhounds crew, particularly Lil Jeff and Q50, followed up with another attack. This was 2 months after Goins' death. The crew moved in on Trap City Glenn, who was shot 15 times. Not much is known about this attack except that he survived it. However, this attack is similar to what was orchestrated against Q50, who also survived his shooting following the death of Z Money. As always, Q50 went public with the shooting, claiming that he had drenched Trap City Glenn with 10 bullets, while Lil Jeff shot him 5 times at this juncture. It looked like both crew had evened up with their crimes and hate for each other as the streets of Chicago experienced some peace and quiet. Meanwhile, Lil Jeff was busy beefing with the BKN, another rivalry which led to a double homicide of 2 teenagers, but amid the numerous murders, Lil Jeff had barely started. In fact, the rapper still remembered his beef with Trap City, and he vowed to finish up what he started. So on June 8, 2024, the fearless Lil Jeff led a few of his Bloodhound crew members into Trap City territory. Their plan was to find and kill Trap City Glenn, who had miraculously escaped the claws of death a few months ago. This shootout was in the neighborhood where Trap City Rob and his grandma lived. Some sources report that Glenn was chased down in yellow shorts while Lil Jeff tenaciously fired after him. However, this only led him into a vulnerable area, as Trap City Rob was lurking by with plans to protect his hood, so he shot at Lil Jeff, sending him to the ground. Others believe that Trap City Rob was being shot at, and he managed to kill the fearless Bloodhounds hitman. But whichever story is true, the fact remains that Lil Jeff had approached street life with the same ruthless streak as one of his greatest idols, King Von. Interestingly, both Von and Jeff's lives ended in similar circumstances as they confronted their ops. Lil Jeff idolized King Von. Like Lil Jeff, King Van was shot and killed on the streets of Atlanta, where he suffered multiple gunshot wounds. These two share a lot of similarities in the stories leading to their deaths, including how they handled their disses and the street fights they started. King Von signed to Lil Durk's F Music family, and Gang died on November 6, 2020 after a fight broke out at around 3 away. King Van, who had visited the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, spotted Quando Rondo, his rival. These two had since had it in for each other, going against each other via diss tracks and Instagram Live. So on this day, King Van decided to set the record straight and show his rival who was boss. However, during the fight between the rappers and their groups, gunfire started to go off on that day. About 4 people were shot. However, 2 managed to survive. The other 2, including King Van, died. From bullet wounds, King Von was shot by Lou Tim, Quando Rondo's friend who came to his aid during the fight. That same friend was eventually acquitted on the grounds of self-defense. This was the same pattern employed in Lil Jeff's death. The Bloodhounds rapper had intended to show off his street credibility when he was gunned down in Trap City. Rob's Hood, getting back to Vaughn YouTuber Trap Laura Ross, once described him as a serial killer who never stayed mute about the number of bodies he took down to King Von. This was a way of establishing himself as a demon and a feared killer. This wasn't any different from what Lil Jeff did during his lifetime. The 21-year-old rapper would often tout his horns on the number of people he had managed to send to their early graves. To him, it signified power and authority in the Chicago gang line. His modus operandi worked on ops and his fans. While Lil Jeff may have been feared among his contemporaries, he was also being compared to King Von, who was known for his killing spree. Online fans compared the pair both musically and how they raved on about their bodies via a Reddit post. The poster shared a photo of Lil Jeff's tracks and how it had gained traffic in the amount of listeners following his death. They debated about his lyrical prowess and compared him to King Von. The caption read, "Could Bloodhound Lil Jeff be bigger than King Von after 2-3 years?" In response, one person wrote, "I don't think so. Van had fame before he died. BH Jeff didn't." Another added, "I'm going to speak for everyone when I say this. Hell to the no." A third fan took the conversation to a whole new level. This fan spoke about their body counts. The commenter quipped, "Everybody loves to compare the two when it comes to bodies. Me personally, I believe Van put in the most work. The biggest comparison between the two is they're both dead. They both literally got bodied." Being the aggressor, another fan maintained that Lil Jeff was quite the killer. He made himself into the person, wrote, "Jeff was a perk sniffer who caught like 12 bodies in 3 years. The older I get, the more disturbed I am that these are real-life serial killers. They kill innocent people." One fan concluded that what made both Lil Jeff and King Von prolific killers was their lifestyle and drug consumption. The person added, "I feel like all these rappers do some kind of hard drugs, but Jeff was open enough to expose his publicly. I have to be honest though, if you read Van's autopsy report, you'll see Van was on 2 or 3 drugs different himself." The comparison between these two was later highlighted by streamer Trenches, who maintained that Lil Jeff did in fact idolize King Von and wanted to be like him during his time on a DJ Vlad interview. Trenches shared,
You said that Lil Jeff was trying to be like King Von.
Yeah, he was. He even said it himself on DJU. Like Vaughn said, it take 2 bodies. You gotta hire 2 bodies to be in my school. I wouldn't, hey look, I'm gonna tell the youth, I wouldn't wanna be in Lil Jeff's school. Just go and look at the video of his him dying.
In a lot of ways, he surpassed King Von. You know, he allegedly killed more people.
How many people did he allegedly kill?
He claims 11.
Some of Lil Jeff's notable killings included the murder.
One incident happened in front of the Happy Liquor food store at 791 Cottage Grove Avenue, where a 36-year-old NLM member was caught in a crossfire and shot dead. Police later said the suspects were between 15 and 25 years old. Another killing linked to Lil Jeff was the murder of 19-year-old Jalel Goins. The person who shot him was never caught, but after the killing, Lil Jeff bragged about being responsible as a way to taunt his rivals. At one point, he even recreated the murder scene. One of the most talked about killings involving Lil Jeff was the shooting of 2 teenage boys from Innovations High School, Lil Monty and Rob, who were part of the BKN gang. In the months before their deaths, they mocked Lil Jeff for wearing fake chains after stealing one from him. In response, Lil Jeff took the feud offline and helped carry out the double murder alongside 2 others. Police didn't make any arrests until a year later, when 2 of the attackers were caught and charged due to the seriousness of the crime. Some people believe Lil Jeff, who was said to be the 3rd shooter, was never held accountable. Others think his death was enough punishment for the crimes he committed. If you like this video and want to stay updated on trending stories, click the card on the screen. Some of Lil Jeff's most well-known crimes included the murder of NLMBBTY, which happened just weeks before Lil Jeff's own death. Although the Bloodhounds were not openly at war with the NLMB gang, violence still occurred.